sympathies to the victims of this very, very um, tragic tragedy. And just to also say that it's important to understand the multimodal and interdependent nature of the response of government agencies, whether within the executive arm, some of which has been shared by the Minister of Water Resources, when government agencies issue warnings about rainfall. This is government at work, first trying to prevent, to alert. When sadly some of these warnings are not heeded, you will see agencies like NEMA, the Emergency Management Agencies, they are in every state of the country beginning to do the needful in terms of search and rescue, and my colleague will respond to all of that. Sometimes after the damage is done, there's a process of rebuilding, and which is where we take responsibility. And it might just be important to state again, as I often do, that the Ministry of Works and Housing is in every state. We have a controller for works, we have a controller for housing in every state. So it's not in every instance that you will probably see me or the PAMSEC or the Minister of State, because the work starts from the field. So, but beyond the work that cuts across our departments in the executive arm, we're also working with the other arm of government, the parliament. So my ministry has been working with the Senate Committee on Works, the House Committee on Works, their chairmen and their members, whose constituents are also affected by this flood. And as a result of that, we've given directives to the federal controllers of works to go out, all the states, as far as they can, to compile the list of assets in terms of roads, bridges that have been damaged, and what the nature of damage is. All of these are being photographed, filmed, documented, and we are currently compiling it. But we haven't finished, because there are some places where the flood waters have not fully receded, and therefore we cannot access those places. We have to wait. So in those places, for example, it is rescue, recovery that is going on there until when the flood water recedes. But just as I shared with my colleagues in council this morning, which necessitated the long discussions and why our meetings lasted this long today, the fact that we have been able to identify 154 places where transport infrastructure by way of roads and bridges have been damaged or impaired, that have to be restored on an emergency basis. But the report is not complete. And this is work being done in collaboration with members of the National Assembly and our offices. The initial costs that we're looking at with those places alone, and we haven't finished, is in excess of 80 billion naira, but we haven't finished. So our work requires some methods to be applied. So just to reassure Nigerians that government is working not only to provide relief, which my colleague will deal with, to provide rescue, but also we're already in the process of preparing restoration and replacement. You see, first of all, let us be clear. This is not a Nigerian unique problem. We see this all over the world. And if you followed, it's a human issue. And let's just dimension it that way. Whether it was in Pakistan where there was very, very bad floods earlier in the year, whether it was in Florida where it was very bad floods, these early warnings were issued. Some people left, some people didn't leave. They're human issues. So do you want me to answer? So let's just understand, first of all, it's a human issue, so nobody's painting it as a Nigerian problem. Now, also realize that there are levels of government involved here. There's a federal government, there is a state government, there are 36 of them, and there are 774 local governments. Those places relating to who builds where, who sets up a house in what place, those are local planning issues that are not the responsibility of the federal government. As my colleague in Water Resources has said rightly, that one of the things his ministry has done is to set, and I'm sure maybe we'll share the slides, showing the flood warning system. It's a big marker that shows that when water reaches at this level, you are safe. If it gets to the yellow level, it's a warning to move. And those are some of the things government does. And it doesn't mean everybody will relocate. But as we speak here, some people did not relocate. Some might have. But the job we have to do now is to bring relief to those who are impacted. That's our job now. So recriminating about what happened yesterday doesn't solve the problem. And what we have come to brief you about are the steps being taken to make life livable, easy for the survivors, to commiserate with those who have lost people and properties, and to plan a way to make life better for tomorrow. What we have lost yesterday is gone. Let's not recriminate about it, and let's focus on how we ensure that we're in a better position today and tomorrow and beyond. Thank you. Locations. Can you calm down, please? I told you it's 154 locations from across the country. I don't have the details here. Thank you very much.
You see, I think we should be very broad-minded and open-minded about this issue. I watched, I'm sure many of you watched on television how 2/3 of Pakistan was underwater because of this flood. You watched, like I did, how Florida was unable to handle this matter. So, honestly, it's not a Nigerian affair or an APC affair. It's a human affair. It's environmental disaster. And I do not see any country that can prepare adequately, especially when the citizens refuse to cooperate. As far back as February, NIMET warned everybody. People have built across channels, they've built on drainages, they violated at will the planning regulations. Now disaster now comes and you say water resources was not ready, humanitarian affairs was not ready, even information was not ready. Haba. You see, let's face it, and like I say, this, what is happening today, is happening all over the world. Let's join hands together with all governments at every level, with all NGOs and private sector. This is a human affair, is a disaster which does not make a difference between one party or the other, or one part of the country or the other. As we speak today, Bayelsa, about 5 local governments out of 7 Bayelsa is underwater. And like the Honorable Minister of Water Resources said, we are receiving 4 times, in some places, the amount of water, the amount of rain that we have ever received in the history of those places. So please, let's think the solution is blaming government. Let's please be objective in our assessment and understanding of the issue at hand. Thank you very much.